This is Cordially Yours with Charles MacPherson on SiriusXM Canada Talks, Channel 167.
Hello and welcome to Cordially Yours. Today I'm joined in studio with two guests. First, we have Rasta Phil, who is an incredible music producer and I think a really interesting storyteller. So I'm looking forward to having him with us. And then, of course, we have Jay Stoyan from the Disability Channel, who is always a character in himself. But first, let's kind of start off with, Rasta Phil. So first, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me on the show.
So, we can't start without, of course, asking you the obvious question, and that is, you grew up with Mark Wahlberg. And so, that may have been the start of your claim to fame, but you have a really great career on your own. But just take us back for a second. What was it like growing up with him?
Well, the first thing you should know is I did grow up with Mark Wahlberg, but I grew up with the New Edition, which is Bobby Brown and all those guys. I'm originally from Boston. So those were my guys, and then I used to travel the world with them. We used to hang around, pick up lots of ladies. We didn't make lots of money.
I love that. We didn't make lots of money, but we had lots of ladies.
And we had a good time. It was always a good time. We had a great time. But then we started with the New Kids on the Block after that, and, we started making money. Donnie was a guy, Mark's brother. He was always making sure we were making a little bit of money. And it was great to finally make money when you're on the road.
Making money is important. You got to pay the bills.
Yes, and when you have a family.
Yes.
So I had five older sisters and my mom. My dad's been dead since I was 7 years old, and she lives in Boston. She turned 92 this year.
Wow, congratulations to Mom. Hello, Mom out there in Radio Land.
And you have to make sure you have the money, because Mom, you got to come back home.
Yeah, she needs help. I get it. I hear you loud and clear.
Picking up ladies she's not hearing that.
And so just as you're telling this story, I'm thinking to myself, so is Mom looking at you saying, would you just get a regular job and stop this stupid thing, and you're trying to say, Mom, I promise this is going to work out. Just give me a chance. Was that kind of the conversation?
Yes, but the thing with Mark is Mark was always like a kid who my sisters and them grew up, helping and doing whatever. So when he started to do the Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, we all knew that was time for us to get a regular job. Donnie was looking after all of us, and, it was amazing. And he just kept it going. And Mark, look at him. He's on top of the world. He's doing lots of movies. He's producing now. He has brands coming out. I'm working with his brands. Municipal. I'm bringing Wahlburgers. Actually, I'm putting one in Niagara Falls with the Mayor Jim.
Really? So I actually live not very far from Niagara Falls.
Oh, so you'll be there.
I will be there because I'm in Niagara-on-the-Lake, and so I am very excited to hear. This is great.
Yes, it's good. It's good for.
Will that give you an excuse to come visit us in Niagara Falls?
Yeah, well, I've been going to Niagara Falls of late. I met some guys. They have a film festival over there, Cardi and Jay and them, and I connected with them. They want to try to bring Mark up for their film festival. You know what I mean? So I told them they have to creep before they walk.
Now, let me ask you, I don't know if this is a hard question, but I kind of think maybe it is a little bit. How do you, when you have a friendship with someone, the way you did with Mark, and you're doing business, how do you separate the two so that the friendship doesn't feel like you're only friends with him for business, when it's actually genuine? How do you separate those two things?
You got to get to know Rasta Phil. I'm the humblest guy. I've been born in the church, I grew up knowing God and everything. My mom was always religious, My mom is married to God, like that's how she is.
Yep.
My father, like I said, he's been dead since I was 7 years old. She's never had another man, another boyfriend.
Yep.
And I have 5 older sisters than me, then a young sister, then my brother. So, my mom is just that G that, what I mean, keeps us grounded. So that's what we do with Mark, too. We keep him grounded. Mark is a good guy because, like, if I'm in trouble, I could call him for things, and he always yells.
He'll take your call?
Yeah. You need to find a You can't always be counting on me. And, he always says to me when I'm in trouble,
Yeah.
So it's good to have him like that. But I've always been working hard on his brands.
Yep.
Because when we first started the Marky Mark thing, I was always a cook because I grew up with sisters. So I always prepared food and stuff. So I helped us save money like that too. So I always helped him in everything he's doing, like his brands.
Yes.
I would never be with a girl that he was with, or, I'm not that guy, I'm different. So we never had no kind of fights like that. We would fight over other stupid things, but not like something like that.
Right. And so what I love is not only have you been loyal to him for so many years, but he's also loyal back to you.
Yes.
And I think that speaks really well on your friendship together, because, sometimes when someone needs somebody, they're kind of there, but then when they don't need them anymore, they're easy to drop. And so, and I say this respectfully, I'm not suggesting he doesn't need you. That's not at all where I'm coming from. But it would just be easy for him to kind of have moved on now with other professionals. But he stood by you, and I think that says a lot for your friendship, but it says a lot also for him just as a person.
No, but if you know the real story about September 11th,
yes,
is I'm the one who caused him to be here, and he didn't want to he was going to get on the plane.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, dude, let's just stay here, hang out. We went to the Four Seasons.
Yep.
And, next thing you know, his mom was looking for him. Where's Mark? Because he was supposed to be on the plane. And,
yes.
I always been there for him, like in that way, when we was on the street, I was always there.
Were you in New York at the time during 9/11?
No, I was here.
You were here in Toronto?
Yes.
Okay.
I stopped him from going on the plane.
Got it. And where was he?
Here.
Here also?
Yes.
Well, so
and then my friend Joe took him back in a Hummer.
Yeah.
Drove him back across the border.
So I was in New York City during 9/11, and I was actually supposed to be in the World Trade Center that afternoon with a client.
Wow.
And
so you're blessed.
I'm very blessed. I do believe that God is looking over me and taking care of me, and I feel very, very lucky.
Yeah.
And so there I was in Union Square at the time, and I was watching the Today Show, and then it kind of all started happening. And I called my client. I said, I think we might need to delay our meeting a little bit. And they said, oh, no. We need to. And then they kind of realized what was going on. They said, oh, yeah, okay, maybe. And then I ended up staying in New York for a week. I was kind of stuck there for a week. But I remember my mother panicking, trying to get a hold of me. But what's interesting is I never was afraid. I know this sounds maybe strange to say, but I was never afraid. And then I'm sorry, that's not about me, but I just finished the story. And then that's when my client went to their house in the Hamptons and said, come stay in our apartment. You'll be much more comfortable. And there I was staying in, a Fifth Avenue penthouse overlooking Central Park, thinking to myself, life ain't so bad,
While the rest of the people are going to
Exactly. But I never, and then I remember driving back to Toronto. I rented a car, and I remember I got on the highway, and I saw a car beside me, and there was 3 nuns in the car. Wow. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to be fine. Nothing to worry about. I got the nuns beside me. What exciting projects are you working on right now?
Well, I have a few things I'm doing. I'm actually doing something for CAMH that's coming up on September 15th. It's a golf tournament at Eagle's Nest, and that was a place me and Ty Domi and Mark would bring us all the time before the guy Gary died, and the owner of the place. We used to go there all the time. We actually shot, I think, one of the Wahlburgers episode there.
Yes.
In Eagle's Nest.
Oh, good.
So when the guy told me he was doing something like that, I wanted to help him right away. Help CAMH, with the mental.
CAMH is such a great organization in Canada. Are they just in Toronto, or are they across Canada?
Well, they, for what I know, they're in Toronto.
They're Toronto. I think they're Toronto based too.
Get them all over the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we need the mental health for everybody.
Now, you seem like a really decent guy. And so my question is, how on earth did you get into trouble with Jay? How did you meet him, and how did you get stuck in his web?
Well, let me say something. Jay always had something about me where he felt I said something about him wanting to meet Mark.
Yes.
And I was like, dude, you don't know me because that's not my character. I grew up with Mark. I could go to Mark and say, look, I want this done. He'll get it done.
Yep.
You want to see I told him, do you want to see the stuff he sing for my grandson? My last grandson, he sing happy birthday for my mom, everybody.
That's great.
So it's like, it's that way with me and Jay. And then Jay was like, so I said, Jay, I would never say something like that. Then he said, oh, Ross, I was wrong. And so we connected back. Well, we knew each other for a long time.
Jay admitted to you that he was wrong.
Yeah.
Are we talking about the same Jay? I think we're talking about someone different here.
I'll take that, but he's like, it's a hard one.
Yes. For those of you in Radioland, Jay's face is kind of squirming right now. I think he's even thinking to himself, what are these two talking about? For those of you that are just tuning in, you're listening to Cordially Yours on Sirius XM, Canada Talks 167. And I'm speaking with an amazing guy. His name is Rasta Phil. He is a producer. He's an all-around kind of nice guy, and he's a humanitarian trying to help people. I think that's really great. And thank you for coming to the studio with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So the show Entourage on HBO was built a little bit on Mark's life, they say. Yes. I don't know if it's true or not. Do you think that show represented realistically what life was like, or do you think it's just it was great fiction for television?
No, well, I think it's Mark's Hollywood life.
Yes.
Not when we live in Boston.
Right.
And where we came from. You know what I mean? That's a whole different life, And that's something that I'm doing here, Canadian content with me and Mark. And I have a bunch of little stuff that I'm doing too. I have the behind the scenes of the Union, Through the Eyes of Rasta Phil.
Yep.
And then I had the one when Post Malone was with us on set. So most of all those, I'm getting ready to bring them out as Canadian content because I'm shooting a lot of stuff. And I love Canada. It's so multicultural, and they follow our culture, the Caribana, what I'm saying? So
I feel very blessed to be Canadian.
Yes,
absolutely.
Me too. I love it.
So tell me, what's it like when you start with a group and they're young and you have the ability to help develop them? So like, Kids in the Hall and all that kind of stuff. So when you start with them, they're not big hits at the time. No. They're little babies, for lack of a better way to put it. So what's that like? I
think it's once they're ready to listen and they trust the procedure, then it's easy to work with them. But then you always have the other ones who just like always worried that, you're going to write my stuff. No, nobody writes your stuff. We're going to teach you how to write it, how to say stuff, how to do it yourself, because we don't want to do it because they don't realize how much work it is. You know what I mean? I
love what you just said, and that you said as soon as they listen, because first let's forget about the kids today. Just kids generally, whether we're talking 50 years ago or today, they don't listen. Kids are not good listeners, but of course us adults, we're perfect listeners. Of course, we don't have that problem, but and I say that very sarcastically, obviously, but kids are not good at listening, and I think that. I love how you said as soon as they listen, and so obviously it's about trust. Yeah. And so how do you build trust with them?
Well, you get to know them in a way where they feel comfortable, because sometimes it's hard to trust people these days because of what we're going through in life and mental health and all the other stuff that we go through. So it's sometimes easier to talk to them when they realize who I am, like the things I've done with Mark, and not only Mark, but the Jimmy Butlers and the Post Malones and, all the people. And I work with Pete Berg and, like people.
You produce some big stuff.
Yeah, I work with some big people, but most of the times I'm just with Mark learning. So when I go with them, I just hang with the director. I sit in the chair. So I learn a lot of things right from the top of the line. And you can't always get that. So I appreciate that a lot.
What I love is your self-confidence. And the reason I say that is because you're so calm. And I think that someone who is self-confident and who believes in themselves can sit calmly. I always think that people who need to talk, they need to fill the room, and they have a nervous energy, are insecure, and they're trying to, they feel uncomfortable in the space, and they're trying to hide or whatever. Where you are the opposite. And so where does this self-confidence and courage come from?
Well, like I said, my father's been dead. My mom has been the G, like she's been a father and a mother.
Yeah.
And my sisters, when you grow up with older sisters, you have a lot of respect for women and everything too.
Yes.
Because up to today, I see certain kids, they talk a certain way in front of their parents. And I have to say, man, I'm older than you and I can't. I still can't do that. My sister will box me.
Now, you said you had five sisters,
Yeah,
five older sisters?
5 older sisters than me.
And then another
One
sister, and then a brother. So now, what was it like before sister number 6 and brother number 1 comes? What was it like being, I guess, the baby with 5 sisters? Was that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a good thing.
Why? Because they took care of you?
Yes, they do. And like when we grew up in Trinidad, like, your sister is tough.
Yeah, yeah.
No guys are bothering you. My sister, Janet, will come, do you make child?
So now,
She was tough. She's still tough.
so you're from Trinidad, and I know you don't know this about me, but my family's from Martinique.
Oh,
And
wow.
so we are from the Caribbean. So we're both from the Caribbean.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that. My mother was born there, and I spent my childhood summers running around the beach
But my
and running
dad
around.
was a born American.
Okay.
So I went to America when I was 16.
Yep.
So that's how I grew up in the same neighborhood with Mark and them. And my mom still live in that Dorchester in the same house. We still have.
She still lives in the same house at 92. That's amazing. What's the secret for her being able to be independent, do you think?
I think just knowing God and worshiping God and not studying no other man in her life. She, my dad was her soulmate, and when he died, she just raised her kids. Her dream was to bring all her siblings to America because my dad was an American.
Yep.
And we did all of that. Me and my mom did that together. And then when, time comes, I started to come up here with the new kids and
Yeah.
Mark and them. And I love Canada. Canada is a beautiful place.
Well, we're proud to have you.
I've traveled the world, so I know the different cultures of
Yeah.
everyone, but I think Canada is so multicultural. We always think it's like Mark always said, this is a virgin country. There's so much to do here. You know what I mean?
Well, I love that
So
expression.
much to do, yeah.
Now, so you just said that you've been all over the world. Is there, putting home aside, is there a place in the world that has been really memorable to you that you really loved? Putting Canada and England.
Love England.
Why England?
Well, we shot a lot of movies there. We did a lot of Transformer. We just did that movie with Holly Berry, the
Yep.
Union. So we spend a lot of time, and I have a lot of friends over there too. That Apache Indian is from there too, and he was just here. We were about to do some stuff with him. I love Apache Indian. He's amazing. You know what I mean? Great guy.
Could you live in London?
Yes, of course. My best friend Donovan lives there. My childhood friend.
So I could.
You'll see him when he watches the Union. You'll see him in it. He's in
Now,
it.
I could live in London too, even though I'm very proud to be Canadian to live in Toronto. But I think the only way you can live in London though is you need money. It's an expensive town.
Well, we make money when we we don't go until you're doing a movie.
I love it. We make money when we're there. No problem. We can
love
live
it,
just
but-
fine.
I love the pounds too.
Now, what are the projects that you have coming up that are exciting?
Well, for instance, we got a I Dream coming up. This I Dream thing coming up. I got this fashion show coming up in Brampton that they want me to attend, and then the Carmage.
So what are you going to do in the fashion show? How do you get involved in a fashion show?
Well, I know a lot of ladies.
This has been a theme since the beginning. Is the ladies?
Well,
So
I grew up with ladies, so it's like my.
so you
aura,
know how to speak to them. You know how to respect
My
them.
wife don't like it though.
And so, what's your involvement in the fashion show?
Well, they want me to host it and be there to support Brampton because it's going to be in Brampton.
Yep.
So we're trying to keep things going in Brampton too at the same time. And Gordy, this guy.
So you're going to be the MC?
Yeah, well, I probably will be the MC, or I'll get somebody else to MC, because I have a lot of people, a lot of artists too, like Ellie, a bunch of them. So I want to bring them. I have a Punjabi artist too. He'd love to do
I
it.
bet you Jay would want to be the MC if you gave him a chance.
Of course.
As he sits there waving in the background, trying to subtly tell me to suggest his name to you without you knowing that he's doing that.
Well, he did meet my friend Clarence Wallace, who wrote the book Food for Your Soul.
What is that book about? Food for Your Soul. Is that a cookbook?
Yeah, no, it's not a cookbook. It's just about stuff, your life, things you're doing, and stuff like that.
What?
I'd love to bring him too. He'll love this guy. He's amazing.
Well, there's
Clarence Wallace.
producer Bilal is always looking to fill a spot, so I'm sure that won't be a problem. What I love about you, and I mean this very genuinely, is how humble you are, and because of your success, and you're not arrogant, and you didn't walk in here with a posse of people and I'm important and so on. You just came in and you've done some really important things in your life, but I loved the way you shook my hand when I first kind of introduced myself to you, and I'm actually really just happy that you're here because you're a good guy.
Happy to be here.
And I hope, I don't know if our listeners can kind of hear that, but I love who you are, because I love that you have been successful with some business. I love how respectful. I love how you are respectful to women. I love how you do charity work. Like you're just a good guy, and the world needs more people like you.
Thank you.
What out of all the projects you've done, is there one in particular that you're the most proud of?
Well, the music I did, actually, when I did a senior hall show, they picked me out from the crowd. Rosie Perez was in the show, and Onyx. Those guys, we're still friends.
Yep.
And the thing with me is I don't know how to burn a bridge. You know what I mean?
Oh, I love that.
So I met the first African American to be in Congress. His name was Mervyn Dimely.
Yes.
He introduced me to Dick Griffey. Dick Griffey was the guy who started Solar Records. He offered me a contract for 15 years, but my brother came from Boston and said no. But then he told me was to go back home to Trinidad, and I recorded 18 artists. I called them Black Star Original. Building love around knowledge, spiritual teachings, and righteousness. Where there's no vision, the people perish. So I met this guy, Tiba, when I was back home. He studied in England. He used to do the dot plates for like Ellie Grant and all those Electric Avenue back in the days.
Yep.
So he had a different sound because he studied in England, and I was from Trinidad. I'm from America. So when we met in Trinidad, he had this cool reggae sound. Like it's gospel reggae, and I loved it. So me and him connected, and we started recording all these artists. And some of the artists are like Prophet Benjamin, even like Marshall Montana. All of those are all people. They're all my friends from since growing up.
So there's also been a bit of a theme here that I'm hearing, and that is, it sounds like you're really good at networking.
Yes.
And so how did you become comfortable to network? Because a lot of people are uncomfortable to kind of at a party to be introduced to people, or you seem like the kind of guy that would just pick up a phone and call somebody if you wanted to. And I love. So how did you gain that skill?
Ask, it shall be given unto you. If you don't ask, you will never get the answer.
I love that.
All they're gonna say is no.
Yep.
If you don't ask them, you'll never find out.
But how come you're not afraid? How did you overcome the fear of not being afraid to ask?
Well, like I said, I grew up in the church. My first biggest fan was my mom.
Yeah.
I would sing in the church, and I would win the prizes at the crusades, and so I was always brave, like that way. I was never afraid to be myself, because that's all I know how to be is myself. I don't know how to be like him or you. Or Is there
a hymn or a song or something that you remember the most singing when you were a kid?
I have a song out that I made for my mother. It's called Jesus Christ.
Can you share a little bit of it with us?
I was chilling in the state of Mass, working hardcore busing, A man who's struggling hard just to earn a buck, a punch a card, living a life based on a clock. Never mind my appearance or my dreadlocks, but in the eyes of a lawman, I'm a smuggler, not really knowing that I'm a struggler. Working hard, but I was behind pay because of my color, my ethnic race. Putting up with this from 9 to 5. If a man quit, he couldn't stay alive. That's why I'm often calling for the man. Jesus Christ, oh, how me love him so nice.
I love that. Thank you.
know?
That's that I think is it's just so beautiful. I thank you. That's really nice of you to share that with us. I don't think you thought when you were coming here today that I was going to ask you to do that. I could see you when you. Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah.
I released that song on my mother's when she turned 92. I just did it for her. And, when I played it for her, my wife gave me the phone and she kept singing the Jesus Christ because it starts, now I lay me down to sleep. I pray my Lord my soul to keep.
Yeah.
If I should die before I wake, I pray my Lord my soul to take.
I love that.
It goes into the verse.
You have children?
Yes. I have 2 girls and 3 grandchildren and one on the way, a 17-year-old
Wow.
son.
Yeah.
And then a 13-year-old granddaughter that's going in 20.
Very quickly, just we're running out of time. How do you share the Spirit of the Lord with them the way you are so comfortable with it?
Well, we read the Bible. We try to pray together. And then I got my friend Clarence. He's been praying with me every morning. We've just been praying and trying to keep things in the right order. Because this rounds is very difficult with the mental health and the stuff that's going on in the world and the young children just turn into violence. We need to try to stop that. And the children of the future, if we don't get to the children, we're in trouble.
Thank you so much for coming to the SiriusXM studios today and honoring us with your presence.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's been truly a pleasure. And so for those of you out there in Radioland, thank you for joining us. I had a wonderful guest. I had Rasta Phil here, and I've had the quietest Jay story ever in the history of the world. And so I look forward to seeing you next time on the radio. Thank you. Cordially yours, Charles.
Hey.